Hey everybody, this is Jeff here, aka Penguin. I'm going to answer some more questions like I did before in video format. And I think it's just easier for me to do this, and I hope you enjoy. And if you see smoke coming from my mouth, I'm not cold. I am in my garage where the temperature is not ideal, but I have a heater right here that's blowing up, so as my air coming out of my mouth goes to the 6-inch to where the heat's coming up from the heater, well, that's why you see smoke. Okay, these first two are going to tie together. The first one is a statement and the second one is a question. It says, I've never been so discouraged. This is so hard. Recovery is so slow and I see no improvement. And that ties into, is it true we only have about 2 years to gain back as much possible, to gain as much back as possible, and then we'll stay in the state we're in? To the first part, I don't know how far out you are to the person who asked this question, and it is hard. If it was easy, then everybody would be up walking around not long after their stroke, but it's not. Some of us has to work very hard to get where they're at. Recovery is slow. Your therapist should have told you that you go by a week, 2 weeks, a month, 6 months, no, excuse me, a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, and then 5 years. Those are really the checkpoints to go by, and then it goes to 5 years to 10 years. If you work at it, if you really work at it, and you do exercises, you do strengthen the muscles, and you do stretching to try and get the joints working again, it should start to see an improvement. It is slow. Some people don't see an improvement until after the first year. Some people see improvement right away. I saw improvement walking when I was in rehab. I was able to walk out of rehab. I couldn't use my arm, could barely move my shoulder, couldn't use my hand or my fingers at all. But after time, I'm almost 3 years out. I can walk fine. While I do use a cane when I'm walking in public, just for the safety factor. You don't know who's going to bump into you and things like that, so I kind of have it for that. I can walk up to about maybe 50 yards, and if I'm going somewhere that's beyond that, then I'll take like a power chair or something. And reason for that is, yes, I can walk to 50 yards or probably a little bit more, but I still have to get back to where I came from. And the further you go, it's kind of like swimming. The further you go out, you have to swim that same distance back. So you have to know what your limitations are and what you're able to do. So I hate to see people who are discouraged. You know, there is hope. And if you haven't seen my video that I talked about that, please do. You know, I hate to keep bringing up myself and all this, but I have to use myself as an example. My wife was told that I wouldn't make it, that I was going to die. I lived. I was told I wouldn't walk because of the severity of it. I did. I was told I'd never use my hand again, and I can still use my hand. I'm getting there. Fingers are moving. I'm going to feel spasm come right now, so I'm going to put it down in a second. And what I suggest is to say, no, you're wrong. I am going to get better. And you have to have positive thoughts about this, because if you have negative thoughts tend to lead to, I don't want to use the word laziness, but if you're thinking of it as a thing of, I am not getting any better, so why try to work at this? Then you won't get better. You have to be positive. You have to set goals for yourself. And you don't want to run out of goals. So before you achieve all your goals, set more goals. And keep doing that. And I think that you'll find that it's going to turn around, and you will begin to be able to do things. But yes, it is hard. It is so hard work, but you have to do it. You really have to do it. As far as the 2 years, that is totally incorrect. I have recovered I got 3 months to go. March will be 3 years for me. And so let's say in the last 9 months, I have definitely gained more stability when I'm standing or walking. I'm able to stand longer. I do have more movement. Most of my movement in my hand has come within the last 9 months. So for them to say 2 years, either they're new in the field or maybe they've treated more elderly people and you don't see as much difference in them. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but I will say that that's not true. And it's not even, well, for most people, 2 years. It's not even true to that. I've seen a lot. I speak to a lot of people who are years out, and they continue to get little things better. It might be moving a joint on their finger, moving their hand a little bit, moving their pinky finger, because that's the last to come back. Usually your thumb, index finger, and so on towards your pinky is how they come back. So don't go by that. If you're told something, prove them wrong. That's the best advice I can give. You work yourself to prove them wrong. Okay, next question. Anyone manage to get their sleep pattern back to normal? Well, you have to ask, what is normal? I know that sounds kind of childish, but what is normal? Some people are up all night and sleep during the day. That's normal to them. That's just what they do. I've already mentioned this in a post today or yesterday, actually. My sleep pattern it has changed from prior stroke. Now, if I'm tired, I sleep. If it's 8 o'clock at night, if it's 5 o'clock in the morning, when I'm tired, I go to sleep. When my body wants to get up, it'll let you know, and you get up. And you can't really, hopefully your therapist told you that, because that's pretty much the way you got to be, at least for the first several years. And then you can try to get on a regular sleeping pattern. But I'm not fighting my body. I'm doing whatever my body tells me to do, because it's the one that's got to do the healing. Now, with that being said, your body does heal when you are sleeping. So if you're sleeping more for a period of time, the last week, I slept more than I normally do. That actually can be a good thing. That means your body is taking that time to try to heal. I know I have days that I call my stroke days, where I do sleep more, and I just see more drawn down, just weaker than normal. But I find that when I come out of those periods, something has improved. I'm able to move something I couldn't before. I'm able to do something I couldn't before. So just keep that in mind. All right, let's see. This question is, what events turned out differently than planned? That is a good question, because there's so many events. To narrow it down to one just isn't, it's very difficult to do. Whereas for me, life is an event, so that didn't work out as planned. I planned to go to a concert with my son. I call it the Free Fest, but it's the Vans Warped Tour. And, we were going to go to that and have a great time and, walk around, see everything. Well, we ended up going, but I was in a wheelchair, so it kind of changed things. I didn't get to do the things with him and see the shows that I wanted to with him. He saw what he wanted to see, but I wasn't able to stand next to him and go into the mosh pits and things like that. And I really hated that didn't turn out the way that I wanted to, because that was something we had been looking forward to for about a year or so. Okay, this one says, I talk about my stroke all the time. It's been 18 months, and I want to stop talking about it all the time. Does anybody else have that problem? And if not, what did you do to change it? When you first have a stroke, probably for the first year, the people around you, the people that you know, acquaintances, friends, they're normally going to ask how you're doing, are you getting better, and things like that. So you're kind of forced to talk about it. I talk about it because I do talk to stroke groups, and such as this one, and rehab groups. So I do talk about it a lot, and I have to recount things leading up to and after my stroke. While I don't remember from the time the stroke hit, probably for about 5 days of my life is gone. The only memory I have is from what people told me that I said or did or things like that. I do not remember any of it for those several days. But I talk about it, and I don't know that I'll ever stop talking about it. I don't bring it up with anybody. While sometimes I do. I'm going to give you a prime example. And I was in a package store, it was early yesterday. No, this would have been Saturday. Excuse me, this would have been Saturday. And when I do drink whiskey, it's actually a bourbon blend called Canadian Hunter. or Hunter. So I went in and asked if they had that, and I said, "Do you have any Canadian Hunter?" And he's like, "Canadian what?" And I said, "Hunter, Hunter." And he got an attitude. He's like, "I know how to spell." So I said, "I'm sorry, I had a stroke and I just didn't know